Hi everyone, my name is Jenna Finkstone, Goddess of Light, and today I want to bring you into a beautiful love story of the goddess Sati and Lord Shiva. And so the embrace of this story is to call in more Shakti into all of our lives. And what is Shakti? Shakti is prana. Shakti is energy. You're Shakti, I'm Shakti. Right now, this video that we're filming is Shakti. Everything around me is energy and prana and Shakti. She breathes into the universe, into the mountains, into the snow, into the rain, into the stars, and into the sky. And when we feel Shakti as it rises up within us, it's almost that feeling of ecstasy, of bliss. And how do you even describe ecstasy? How do you even describe bliss? That connection of pure divine light. So the story kind of goes like this. A million years ago, Lord Shiva, as he does, he was sitting high up in the mountains in meditation. And Lord Shiva sits within meditation for years, and no one can pull him out of his cosmic meditation. And meditation is beautiful. However, Lord Shiva is needed for the universe. He is the protector, he is the creator, and he is also the destroyer. Lord Shiva, if I were to describe him just a little bit, is a very stoic, beautiful God. He's very muscular and he's blue. He has a snake, a cobra, wrapped around him that connects into his strength, into his power, and his fearlessness. His eyes are very piercing and very wise, as he is known as the great yogi. He is the higher consciousness. So Lord Shiva, he has been sitting on this majestic mountain for years. And then there's two other gods within this story. We have Lord Brahma, and we also have Lord Vishnu. Brahma is the creator, and Vishnu is the sustainer. And the universe is starting to fall apart. They need Lord Shiva, but they can't pull Lord Shiva out of his trance. And the only way that they can pull Lord Shiva out of his trance is to bring in Shakti, who also is known as Sati, and Sati is an avatar of Shakti. So they make the long hike together to go see Shakti. And they get down on their knees and they beg Shakti. They say, Shakti, we need you. We need to bring Shiva out of his cosmic trance. We need for him to step into his responsibilities for the universe. And Shakti sits quietly with a very content look on her face. But she is in thought. She's not quite sure she wants to step into that obligation because she knows that it encompasses so much more. So Vishnu and Lord Brahma say to Shakti, we want to bring Sati. We want to bring Sati into the universe, and we want to bring Shiva and Sati together into their beloved and sacred marriage. And so Sati, Sati, says to Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, okay, I will do this. But she has one request, along with a request from her father, Lord Daksha. You must treat women equal to all the gods and all the men, all the creatures of the universe, and that we are no longer property. And so Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, that was an easy decision for them. They were totally in. And so was her father. But we'll move into a little bit of his stubbornness later in this story. So the invitation for Sati to actually go find Lord Shiva was going to be a journey, because Lord Shiva lives in the mountains. He lives in the forest, underneath the trees with the goblins and the ghosts. Sati is this beautiful, beautiful goddess. And once again, she is Shakti. And so she exudes the essence, and in Sanskrit we say bhavana, the bhavana, the essence of ecstasy. She exudes bliss. In Sanskrit we say ananda. Even as she touches the earth, you can feel that energy, that prana rising up with her beautiful bare feet and her jewels wrapped around her ankles. Sati has dark black hair that travels down her skin like the ocean waves. And usually you see her with either a pink, hot pink, or red sari wrapped around her. So as Sati starts to head out onto her journey to meet her beloved Shiva, she packs her satchel with food and she starts to head over mountains into the forest, over lakes, through the stars, into the sun, through the moonlight, connecting into the nectar. Sati finally sees Lord Shiva in the distance, sitting in his cosmic meditation with his chest lifted. And as his eyes are drawn softly closed, there's this essence of peace, of Shanti within him. She hikes up to this mountaintop, and Shiva, Lord Shiva, doesn't even open his eyes. Matter of fact, he has no clue Sati is standing in front of him. And so she starts to just gently walk in a circle around Lord Shiva, very gracefully, observing, witnessing, and watching his beauty. Eventually, you start to see Lord Shiva, his eyelids start to waver back and forth just a little bit. His shoulders start to move. And deep within his meditation, he can feel an essence that he has never felt before, and that essence is ecstasy. He starts to even wiggle his hips a little bit, and Sati is still just walking around Lord Shiva in a circle, smiling very gently, connecting into her sensuality. And then she decides that she's going to sit right in front of him with her heart lifted. Lord Shiva, all of a sudden, his eyes open and his gaze and his drishti very soft and very loving. And as he looks at his beloved Sati, he smiles, and again he feels this overwhelming feeling and essence of ecstasy, of bliss, of ananda. And as they both stand up onto this mountaintop, they embrace each other with love. As Lord Shiva and Sati are embraced on this majestic mountain, the moon starts to set in and the stars start to appear. And you can feel their energy, the Shiva, which is the masculine energy, and the Sati, which is the feminine energy, start to rise up from the earth and then expand in all directions. As Shiva and Shakti, Sati come together as one, they decide that it's time for them to travel together, although Lord Shiva says to Sati, "You do know, my beloved, that I live in the forest and I will not live in a home." And Sati is okay with this. So on their way down from the mountain, they make love everywhere. They make love in the mountains. They make love in the stars. They make love above the clouds. They make love in the trees. They make love by the river, by the creeks. And so as the love story always goes in the beginning, there's nothing but ecstasy. And they're embracing the sweetness, the sensuality within their journey, within their life. And then, of course, as life can take us, the turbulence starts to come into their heart spaces. And the turbulence has to do with Sati's father, Lord Daksha. So Lord Daksha, if you remember, he made a promise to treat goddesses and gods, men and women equally, that women were no longer considered property. And one day, Sati went into the village to buy some chocolates for her and Shiva and some fruit to take back into the forest. And she heard what we call gossip, that her father, Lord Daksha, was having a huge fire ceremony, this humongous party, and he had invited everybody. He invited all of the creatures, the cosmic creatures. He had invited all of the musicians and all of the gods and all of the snake deities, and yet he did not invite Shiva, and he did not invite Sati. Now Lord Daksha has become this powerful, powerful God in the universe. Yet he does not hold the essence of kindness for most creatures, for most goddesses and gods. And he is somewhat jealous of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is kind of like this badass that everybody loves. He's got these amazing dreadlocks. He walks the earth in a very stoic yet humble way. He is the creator and he is the destroyer as well as the protector. He is the great yogi and he is living from a higher consciousness. So reality is that Sati's father has never liked Lord Shiva. And so when Sati finds out the news that they have not been invited to this fire ceremony, she also realizes that her father is not treating women, goddesses, gods, and men equally in a balanced way. Shakti, remember, is feminine, divine feminine energy rising up. And Sati is connecting us into the avatar of Shakti. Sati is in the village and she finds out this news. And she sits down very quietly. And yet you could see that even though she exudes ecstasy and bliss and ananda, that these waves of emotions were moving in of sadness, of frustration, of anger, and that her yogic fire was starting to turn on. So she decides that she needs to go to one of her favorite places to sit, to listen, to observe, and to watch, and to connect into her own inner wisdom. So she decides to go to this beautiful place by a creek that has this giant willow tree. And she sits in the tall green grass. And as she sits in the tall green grass, her hot pink sari just kind of melts into the land. And she draws her beautiful eyes closed, her heart is lifted, and her face, the features of her face, very soft, very tender, and she drops into her own meditation. Within her meditation, she realizes that the world, the universe, is not ready for this divine feminine energy that needs to rise up from the earth and bring us into the balance of masculine energy and feminine energy. And so she turns on her yogic fire, and as she turns on her yogic fire, she leaves her physical body And you see Sati just lying on the earth in the grass, as beautiful as always, exuding that ecstasy. Meanwhile, Shiva is in the forest doing what he does as a protector and as a creator, but he realizes that days have gone by, which isn't so unusual, and he hasn't seen his beloved. And so he starts to travel in all of the destinations that she loves, and he can sense that something does not feel right. And as her beloved, he starts to follow his intuition. So he travels deep into the forest, over the mountains, into the moonlight, into the sun, into the stars, over the rivers, over the lakes, into the oceans. And then he all of a sudden connects deeply into the depth of his heart. And he has this moment of intuition, knowing where his lover is, Sati. So he goes to this beautiful place, the creek, and he sees the giant willow tree and the tall green grass. And he sees his beloved just lying in the grass so sweetly, and yet tears start to move from his eyes like the moonlight nectar falling on his skin. And so he goes over to Sati and he kneels down, and he knows that she has left her physical body, and he knows why, because they are so connected. And so Shiva, with his rage, with his anger, and with his love for Sati, picks Sati up very delicately. And as her beautiful legs hang and her arms hang and her dark hair and her jewels of gold and jewels on her ears and her pink sari drape into the earth, he starts to walk fearlessly across the universe. He walks over the oceans again, over the lakes, into the stars, into the moonlight, through the nectar, through thunderstorms, through tsunamis, through tornadoes, everything. And as he starts to walk, all of a sudden, Sati's body parts start to drop into the earth. Some of them are dropped into the thunderstorm, some of them are dropped into the sweet rain, some of them are dropped into the mountains, some of them are dropped all over the world. And it is said that wherever Sati's body parts have fallen, that they are portals of ecstasy, portals of bliss, portals of Shakti rising up from the earth, connecting us into that energy and into that prana. So perhaps even within your own journey, maybe you live in the mountains, and maybe you live by the ocean, maybe you live in the jungle, maybe you live in the city. Wherever you live, at times we can feel this rupture of Shakti, this movement from the inside out, where we feel this inner bliss, this ananda. We feel the ecstasy, the sensuality of life. And this is Shakti moving through us. And Shakti needs Shiva to survive, and Shiva needs Shakti to survive. So as we embrace feminine energy and masculine energy together, then we can start to drop more into the creation of Shakti within our lives. So please join me. Your right palm in yoga actually is masculine energy, and the left palm is feminine energy. So as you bring your palms together in this universal mudra into Anjali mudra, bring your thumbs into the heart space, drawing your eyes softly closed, lifting your chest, lifting your heart like Shiva. And as you soften in the skin and soften within the breathing body, just receiving your breath as it is, allowing it to flow in and flow out. May you be blessed with a lot of Shakti.